Okay, we'll now go to the bills of Senator Liu, SB 64, and Senator Liu, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. This bill requires the California Transportation Commission to review updates to the California Transportation Plan and prepare specific recommendations to improve the statewide integrated multimodal transportation system, including high-occupancy vehicle lanes, passenger rail, bus service, and other travel modes. I want to thank the committee staff for working with my office on this legislation, and I accept the amendments recommended on page 2 of the analysis to require action-oriented, pragmatic recommendations by the CTC, the same language used in SB 486, which passed out of this committee last year. This bill is a follow-up to SB 391, which I authored in 2009. SB 391 required updates of the California Transportation Plan to address how the state will meet its transportation infrastructure and mobility needs while also meeting criteria for air pollution standards and achieving greenhouse gas reduction targets. The California Transportation Plan is a statewide, long-range transportation strategy that guides transportation decisions and investments. The plan is updated every 5 years. Pressure on the statewide transportation system will increase with a growing population and housing and business growth. You guys have been talking about this all day. And at the same time, the state must find ways to reduce greenhouse gases and keep people and goods moving. Currently, the plan provides a wide range of general recommendations. SB 64 requires the CTC to make more focused, specific recommendations to the legislature and the governor every time the plan is updated. The specific list will help legislators author bills and make policy changes to achieve statewide plan goals. There is no opposition, and I ask for your support on the bill.
Thank you, Senator. Other witnesses in favor? Speakers in favor? Questions from our committee? There's a motion on the bill. Do we have any opposition on this item? I see none. Roll call.
Pretty quiet.
The motion is due pass.
I'm sorry. Do you want to close, Senator?
Just ask for your support.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry.
The motion is due pass as amended, and we refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Senators Bell?
Aye.
Bell, aye. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, aye. Allen? Bates? Gaines? Gaines, aye. Galgiani? Leyva? Leyva, aye. McGuire? Mendoza? Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski? Wachowski, aye. So we've got 6 votes on call.
It's on call. We'll wait for the other members to cast their votes, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Senator, we'll go to your next item, item 4. This is SB 192, bicycle helmets.
Bicycle helmets.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so this bill requires the Office of Traffic Safety, in coordination with the California Highway Patrol, to conduct a comprehensive study of bicycle helmet use. I want to thank this committee staff for working with my office on this legislation, and I accept the committee's amendments recommended on page 3 of the analysis to do 2 things: require the report to comply with government code requirements and revise the sunset date to January 1st, 2018. California law since 1994 has required anyone under 18 to wear a helmet when they're riding a bicycle. California has not had a comprehensive examination of helmet use since the youth helmet bill passed. Limited data is available from other countries with mandatory adult helmet laws, and California would benefit more from data specific to the state. This bill requires OTS, that's the Office of Traffic Safety, to complete a study including, but not limited to, determining the percentage of California bicyclists who do not wear helmets and the fatalities or serious injuries that could have been avoided if helmets had been worn. The CHP already compiles the annual statewide integrated traffic reporting system, whose acronym it does not make sense, which includes bicycle and pedestrian safety statistics. I believe all bicycle riders should wear helmets, and I encourage more people to try riding a bike. But a wide variety of opinion currently exists about adult helmet use. And data from a study will help guide the legislature in making decisions that can protect bicycle riders and expand bicycle use, and I ask for your support on this bill.
Okay. Other questions for Senator? There's a motion. Do we have speakers in favor, please? Speaker opposed? Speaker opposed, right here. Yes, sir. You can state your name. Welcome, welcome.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're okay.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, James Lombardo on behalf of CABO, California Association of Bicycle Organizations. And I'm not, our association did not take an official oppose. We've got some concerns with the bill, if I could express those, in terms of this study moving forward. First of all, we're not really opposed to a study, but we think if you're going to include a study, it needs to include bicycle organizations in developing what the material is and what they're going to look at as far as studying. It's not the bicyclists that are going out and running into cars and trucks. It's the cars and trucks that are running into bicyclists. And if they were more safe motorists out there, we wouldn't have the number of deaths and accidents that we do. And the distracted driving of these people has caused serious injury to numerous of our riders. I also think that we need to look at, we currently have I don't know if anybody knows that, because if you drive along your city streets going home, there actually is a bicycle law for people under the age of 18, but that is not currently enforced that I can see. You see an occasional child with a helmet. And now we're going to expand this to people over 18. And so that needs to be included. We need to go back and look and see what's the enforcement out there. We also have a helmet law for motorcyclists, which I think if you see with California Highway Patrol, it's a 99.7 compliance. And I would have to say that for people under the age of 18, there may be, it'd be interesting to see if anybody's even been cited. But here we're going forward saying, let's go and expand it, and we haven't even done the current enforcement. Also, I'm not too sure that the Highway Patrol should be the ones and the OTS doing this study. There is currently a professor at Cal Berkeley that was doing a study relating to motorcycles that's going to be out here soon, and maybe that would be a more neutral person to do that study. And finally, I was here, I'm not too sure, other than Senator Galgiani might have been present when the Assemblyman Caldera carried the bicycle bill. That bicycle bill passed out of the Assembly Transportation. It passed with everyone being included in it. It passed out of Senate Appropriations Committee with everybody having to wear a helmet. But when it got to the floor of the Assembly, the members on the Assembly floor said, excuse me, we're adults and we shouldn't have to be required to wear helmets. And that bill was killed and it was stripped out. And that was what the bill was that got to the governor. So as this bill moves, we'd like to meet and discuss and see if we can get some of this included. Thank you, Senator.
Other speakers? We asked for speakers opposing. I don't see any others. Questions of the author? Senator Liu, you have any closing remarks you'd like to make?
This is the first time we've heard from this individual, so we will attempt to include him in the conversation. And we do need some better data in order to see whether or not it's possible to do a mandate for adults. But if we don't know the statistics and we don't know the background, it's better to have a policy based on data than not. So with that, I just would ask for your support on this bill.
Thank you. Senator, when I was a member of the Board of Supervisors, we started a Office of Traffic Safe Communities Network program where we involved the public health agency that actually did the studies. And what they did is they did sort of a study of injuries an injury study, seeing where injuries occurred, and they mapped it out, and they saw the types of injuries, and they looked at each type of injury and the location, and then what caused that injury in terms of the contributing factors to the injury. And it was done in a very scientific way, like you would study a disease, you know, like how the people died and what the morbidity factors were and so forth. So what they did is they presented this report to our committee and basically concluded that if we can increase the number of use putting helmets on, it would reduce the injuries and the amount of, they not only look at crashes, but what happens after to the person, what happens to that individual that's harmed by an accident, and how much it costs. So for health reasons. So I think this helmet safety study is a good idea. I think the Office of Traffic Safety is a good organization to do the study, and I think we should have involved health officials and others that could contribute to the preparing a good study. So I support your bill, and hopefully we asked for some amendments. Did you accept those?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion. And no motion yet? Okay, do we have a motion on this bill? So moved. Okay, we have a motion. Thank you. So let's call roll.
The motion is do pass as amended and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Senators Bell?
Aye.
Bell, aye. Canela?
Aye.
Canela, aye. Allen? I'm sorry.
We're voting. Senator Lou's bill.
Fi-
He could vote later if he wants.
Bates? Gaines? Gaines, no. Galgiani? Leyva? Leyva, aye. McGuire? Mendoza? Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski? Wachowski, aye.
Okay. Ellen, aye.
Allen, aye. So you've got
6 votes, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members.
We'll keep the roll open for other members to vote. Senator Allen's here. We'll have Senator Allen present his SB 254. Senator, you have the floor. It's regarding state highway relinquishment process, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and I apologize for coming in and out. We're in the middle of a heated discussion over the Judiciary Committee. So Governor Brown's January budget summary outlined the need for legislation to, quote, broaden and streamline the process for the relinquishment of state highways to local jurisdictions. However, both relevant Senate and Assembly budget subcommittees have expressed the desire to see this proposal in a standalone bill that goes through the regular legislative process instead of being folded into a budget trailer. SB 254 is an attempt to do just that, incorporating the governor's proposal into a bill that largely mirrors language recently released by his Department of Finance. So SB 254, one, authorizes the California Transportation Commission, the CTC, to relinquish portions of the state highway system to a city or county without legislative action. It requires Caltrans to report to the CTC on which routes and segments of the highway system are the best candidates for future relinquishment. And finally, it restricts the CTC from relinquishing any portion of the state highway system until Caltrans has entered into an agreement with the recipient of the highway segment and has placed the highway in a state of good repair. This legislation will make it easier for relinquishments to take place, but only when both the state and the local government agree that it's in everyone's best interest. Significant portions of state highways throughout California no longer serve the purpose of a typical highway. They may be urban routes, such as a couple that I have that crisscross my district that go through heavily populated areas that have become main streets of sorts for the cities that they go through. They also can turn into main streets for burgeoning suburbs. So, in my Senate district, the significance of Highway 1 and the Pacific Coast Highway and Santa Monica Boulevard, both state highways, it's hard to overstate. Local governments in my district have expressed great interest, but also frustration with the current relinquishment process. We spoke a little bit about this at the Transportation Committee's hearing down in Los Angeles. While it doesn't always make the best sense for the state to bear the cost of maintaining these roads, neither is it always practicable for local governments to have to work through state bureaucracy to make important changes to them. I want to thank the committee and its staff for lending its expertise and advice to my staff as we work on this issue. And as this bill hopefully moves forward, I expect and welcome the opportunity to engage with stakeholders to balance the unique concerns of both state and local governments and those who work on the roads. I respectfully request your aye vote on this measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Other witnesses in favor, please? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members, Paul Smith with the Rural Counties Association in support of the bill. First, I want to echo Senator Allen's comments about the staff. We have been meeting with the staff on this issue, and the staff has been incredibly accommodating and understanding. As Senator Allen said, the administration has put forth a streamlining relinquishment bill. We support that effort, provided there are some caveats. Those caveats are included in Senator Allen's legislation. They are, real briefly, a protection that interregional routes, those routes that link urban areas with rural areas, those would not be eligible for expedited relinquishment. The second that we're very pleased to see is the issue that when a relinquishment occurs to a local government, it has to be in a state of good repair, as well as an agreement with the local governments. We believe that is vital. That is not necessarily the case with relinquishment bills now that come through the legislature, but those that are going to be expedited would have to have that dual purpose. And then finally, the issue of notification to adjacent and impacted jurisdictions. We feel that is very appropriate, again, when there's no legislative process dealing with these relinquished highways. We believe that neighboring jurisdictions should be aware of these proposals. So with that, we are in support of the bill and encourage the committee to move the bill along.
Thank you. Other witnesses?
Mr. Chairman, members, Bob Naylor representing Amador County Transportation Commission. We support the bill with all of the caveats that Mr. Smith mentioned, and I won't repeat them. Thank you for the staff effort as well.
Thank you.
And Jennifer Whiting with the League of California Cities, also in support. The relinquishment process is a long and complicated one. This bill does some very common sense streamlining in cases where there is agreement on all sides. Thank you.
Okay. Can we have speakers in favor? Other speakers? Speakers opposed to this? Any speakers that have questions? Middle of the rotors. Okay.
How about concerned?
Concerns. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tim Kremens, International Union of Operating Engineers. We represent these state workers who do the operation and maintaining of these roads. We have just begun opening up our collective bargaining agreement for negotiations with the administration. Was hoping we could address that issue in negotiations. This bill is moving very fast, but I was hoping at least to get a commitment to work with the author and see if we could address some of our concerns.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Other speakers that have concerns? Okay. Committee questions? Senator Gaines, you have a question. Senator?
Comment, if I could. I carried an individual piece of legislation a few years ago for the city of Auburn.
Yeah, right. I remember
Did that, Highway 49, and they made some beautiful improvements to that area. They made it more pedestrian friendly, but you still had ingress and egress, no issues with people using their automobiles, so I'm supportive.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Senator.
You know, I did relinquishment for the city of San Jose, and it was very difficult and complicated and took a couple years. And I wonder if we have relinquishments in several local jurisdictions, how much money that would cost the legislatures to hold hearings on all those bills. so I kind of I like the idea of having this bill approved for that reason alone. I think it would allow a expedited process. However, I hope that when there's multiple, I think one of the issues you ought to really make sure that California Transportation Commission does is when they come up with their list of projects to consider for relinquishment, they list all the cities and governmental institutions that are involved in that relinquishment, so they don't just deal with one city and then the next city up the road doesn't get involved. I think that would cause a lot of problems if that happens. So you want to make sure that the relinquishment is agreed on behalf of all the cities involved, because a lot of these state highways go through several communities and several jurisdictions, and it's better if they all agree on it rather than have one agree and one not agree and so forth. So that's something to make sure that that occurs in terms of when they produce their guidelines for this.
So just sort of a framework for better coordination between the cities.
Yeah, so they should up front list all the cities in any particular segment. You know, so, you know, if it goes through 5 cities in Orange County, you don't want to have the cities, one city for and one city against, and, you know, all the, you know, one city not knowing about it, and then, we want it to be done in a more coordinated fashion, in terms of the cities. And I think the idea is a good idea, though. The governor had it right. We need to coordinate, we need to consolidate this process into a less legislative kind of a process.
Yep.
Senator Bates.
Senator Allen, I'm sorry I was a little late and didn't hear the early presentation. And this would, if we'd had it in place a few years ago, it really helped one of my cities. But I am concerned if you addressed that the particular road segment, when it is relinquished, that it is in good repair. That was one of the things that was required. That's been covered,
Yes.
protected.
So,
Sorry,
yeah, so one of the things that the bill does is restrict the CTC from relinquishing any portion of the state highway system until Caltrans has entered an agreement with the recipient of the highway segment and has placed the highway into a state of good repair. So that's an important,
I just missed
right. There's no question about that. And my cities would be very angry with me if I didn't make sure that was the case too.
Right. Thank you.
Generally, the relinquished, I don't know if Senator Gaines happened to his Auburn experience, but generally what happens is the state, once the relinquishment's approved, they'll determine an amount of money, a one-time amount of money to be given to that community for upgrading to state of good repair, and they'll determine based on, the condition. It could be in good condition, it could be in lousy condition. They'll figure that out, and they'll give the community a one-time amount of money. And then afterwards, that route will count in their allocation of gas tax revenues that's subvented. That actual mileage will be counted as part of the subvention, so they'll get additional, an increase in gas tax allocation. So that's how So your bill is correct. You have to have that maintenance of good repair clause in it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously, the city has to agree. I mean, ultimately.
Everybody has to agree. Yeah. Everybody. Move the bill. Okay, we have a motion. Any other questions from the committee? We'll call the roll. Yeah, Senator, you want to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Thank you.
The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Senators Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, I. Allen?
Aye.
Allen, I. Bates?
Aye.
Bates, I. Gaines? Gaines, I. Galgiani? Leyva? Leyva, I. McGuire? Mendoza? Roth? Roth, I. Wykowski? Wykowski, I.
Okay,
Thank you, Senators.
thank you. We have 8 votes. We'll remain open for other members to vote. We'll have Senator Wykowski, and then we have one more, Senator Stone. We're down to the last 2. We have number 14.
In comparison to.
So Wykowski, you have SB 413, item 9, public transit. You have the floor, Senator.
Correct, and this deals with prohibited conduct on transit vehicles and in transit facilities. This bill would allow transit agencies to use an administrative process rather than the criminal process to cite and process minors in the same way that we currently are citing adults, and removing and freeing up our courts. This would eliminate the unequal burden placed on children and their families vis-a-vis adults to appear in court during school and work hours. It would also decrease the workload of our crowded court system. The bill would also add a new violation for failing to yield a seat reserved for an elderly or disabled person to better enforce the Americans with Disability Act. SB 413 provides uniformity between the public utilities and the penal code on the issue of noise violations, and it's supported by the California Transit Association, and I have with me Matt Robinson and others who are supporting it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt Robinson with the California Transit Association. We represent about 200 different transit systems throughout the state, as well as the businesses and the agencies that support those systems. We are the sponsors of this measure. In order to keep my comments brief, I'm going to speak to really 2 provisions of the bill that seem to be generating a little bit of controversy from some groups out there. Number 1 is I want to clarify that currently under statute, you can cite someone for a violation on transit systems either under the penal code or through an administrative process. What this bill attempts to do is allow minors who are currently prohibited from going through that administrative process to be cited through that process. So it's akin to getting a parking ticket versus going through the criminal court system. And so when we say we're treating minors the same way as we're treating adults, that's what we mean, is that we're giving them that much easier, much more streamlined process to go through. The second provision, which was brought to us by the sheriffs of Los Angeles County, deals with the sale or peddling of goods and a slight bump up if you're cited for doing that a third time. And I want to make that clear. It's a regular infraction the first 2 times someone is cited. If we have to cite individuals again, they would be able to be cited for a misdemeanor, but it still allows those officers that are enforcing that violation to cite an infraction. They're kind of given their own ability to assess the situation and decide whether that warrants a misdemeanor. With that, I just would add that this is kind of a collection of cleanups that were brought by several of our member agencies, including the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Authority, Los Angeles Metro, and the Bay Area Rapid Transit District. With that, I think I'll stop there and ask for your aye vote, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Yes, thank you. Other witnesses in favor?
Mr. Chairman and members, Delaney Hunter on behalf of the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, in strong support.
Any other witnesses?
Mr. Chairman, members, Lieutenant Wayne Billowit on behalf of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department in strong support of the bill. Thank you.
Okay.
Michael Pimentel here on behalf of SEN Trans, Caltrain, and the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency in support. We ask your aye vote.
Jim Lights on behalf of the San Francisco Bay Area Rapid Transit District. The board hasn't had an opportunity to take a formal position, but we are in strong support of the provisions of the bill.
Okay. Other supporters, witnesses opposed to this? Are there any witnesses opposed to this? I don't see any stepping forward. Questions from the committee? Senator Leyva.
I just have a question. I understand peddling, and I understand why maybe it's problematic, but I'm not sure why we would put a bigger fine on these folks, kind of, kick them when they're down. I think most people that are peddling their wares, so to speak, and especially minors, are doing it because they have no other way to generate income. So just maybe you could expand on that a little bit.
Well, the idea is that if there are minors and they're peddling it 1 time or 2 times or even 3 times, they're in this administrative arena. So they're going to be sitting in LA watching a video, maybe going to juvenile hall on a Saturday and seeing an anti-theft or good citizenship video or something like that. But we're trying to not create a jacket for them in the criminal justice system. They call it, the term of art is a woblette. If you're between a misdemeanor and a felony, we call it a wobbler. Well, if you're between an administrative and a misdemeanor, it's a woblette. So we're trying not to get them into a misdemeanor. But if they continue to do it, it's illegal activity, and they would just be prosecuted under as if I were a DA, under the full extent of the law, if I would say it that way.
You're saying this actually helps them?
Yes. Yes, what it does is it gives them a chance to learn the right behavior when they're on these public transit systems. We don't want them peddling when they're not supposed to be peddling. That's just it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. And do we have close on this item, Senator?
We'd like for you to help us keep kids in school and ask you to vote yes on this bill.
Okay. All right. Move the bill. Mom apple pie and keep the kids in school, huh? Okay. We have a motion. No other questions? We'll call the roll, please.
Got a few. And is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Senators Bell?
Aye.
Bell, aye. Canella? Aye. Canella, aye. Allen? Bates? Aye. Bates, aye. Gaines? Aye. Gaines, aye. Galgiani? Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. McGuire? Mendoza? Roth? Aye. Roth, aye. Wykowski? Aye. Wykowski, aye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Senator. And we'll now call Senator Stone. He's here, and we'll hear his bill. This is item 14, SB 737. Senator, you have the floor. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Senator Beal, members. I'm honored to be here before you today. First off, I would like to take the suggested amendments in the committee analysis as author amendments and to thank you and your staff for all their hard work on this bill. SB 737 is an attempt to make our roads safer for all Californians. California has been at the forefront when it comes to tackling the issues of talking and texting on one's cell phone while driving. Distracted drivers have been the cause of numerous accidents in California and has had serious, if not fatal, consequences. As the Office of Traffic Safety mentioned, and is noted in your committee analysis, 80% of vehicle crashes involve some sort of driver inattention. An average of 3,000 people each year are killed in the United States due to distracted driving. There is also a direct correlation between distracted driving and higher insurance premium rates. Despite our best attempts to discourage distracted driving, the problem is still in front of us. SB 737 is an attempt to further discourage distracted driving. The bill would simply do two things. It would double the base fines to $40 for the first offense and $100 for each subsequent offense for texting while driving. It would also assess a point to the driver's DMV record upon conviction of texting while driving. California should continue to be a leader when it comes to protecting drivers on the road. This bill would do just that. I respectfully would ask for your A vote on this measure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Senator, did you accepted all the amendments, committee amendments, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Other questions from our committee on this item? Can we have speakers in favor of this item? Any speakers in favor? Okay, I see none. Speakers opposed? I don't see any either. So we have a motion. Senator, there's no questions and there's a motion. Do you have a closing comment?
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate your I vote.
Thank you. Okay, we'll call the roll on this item then.
The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Senators Bell?
Aye.
Bell, aye. Cannella? Allen? Bates? Aye. Bates, aye. Gaines? Gaines, aye. Galgiani? Leyva? Leyva, aye. McGuire? Mendoza? Roth? Roth, aye. Wykowski? No. Wykowski, no.
Okay.
Thank you for your consideration.
Everyone will wait for other senators to come and cast their votes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's the last item. And what we're going to do now is we're going to allow the people that are here to cast their votes on any item that they haven't. And then we'll leave the roll open for other members to come back from their meetings and cast their votes. So can we please go through the items, please?
File Item 1, Senate Bill 9 by Senator Bell. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 5-0, Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen, Bates, aye. Bates, aye. Galgiani, McGuire, Mendoza, Wykowski. Aye. Wykowski, aye.
Okay, we'll hold that open for the additional members to cast their votes.
File Item 2, Senate Bill 16 by Senator Bell. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Rules. The current vote is 3-1. Chair voting aye, Vice Chair hasn't voted. Cannella, Allen, Bates, Galgiani, McGuire, Mendoza, Roth. You're on.
Not voting, right? No, not voting.
Oh, no, okay. That still has 3-1.
Okay, we'll hold that open for other members.
File Item 3, Senate Bill 64 by Senator Liu. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 6-0, Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen, Bates, no. Bates, no. Galgiani, Galgiani, aye. McGuire, Mendoza. Okay, so that's 6-1. File Item 3, Senate Bill 64 by Senator Liu.
Senator Liu.
Allen, aye. So that's 8-1.
That's 8-1.
Still
We'll
on
hold
call.
the item open for other members to cast their votes.
File Item 4, Senate Bill 192 by Senator Liu. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 6-1. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Bates? No. Bates, no. Galgiani? Aye. Galgiani, aye. McGuire, Mendoza. So 7-2, call.
That vote, we'll leave that open for other members to come and cast their votes.
File item 5, Senate Bill 231 by Senator Gaines. The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Current vote is 7-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen? Allen, aye. McGuire? Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski? Wachowski, aye. It's 10-0. Put it on call.
10-0, we'll put that on call for other members to come and cast their votes.
File item 6, Senate Bill 254 by Senator Allen. The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 8-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. McGuire? Mendoza. So that's 9-0 on call.
That bill is on call and has 9 votes.
File item 7, Senate Bill 257 by Senator Bates. The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 6-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen? Allen, aye. Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. McGuire? Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski? Wachowski, aye. So that's 10-0 on call.
That bill is on call. We have 10 votes on that bill.
File item 9, Senate Bill 413 by Senator Wachowski. The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 7-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen? Allen, aye. Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. McGuire? Mendoza? Okay, so it's still on call, 8-0.
That
9-0.
vote is on call. How many votes?
9.
That's 9 votes. It's on call.
File item 11, Senate Bill 516 by Senator Fuller. The motion is due pass as amended and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 7-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen? Allen, aye. McGuire? Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski? Wachowski, aye. It's on call, 10-0.
That has 10 votes. It's on call.
File item 12, Senate Bill 530 by Senator Pan. The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 6-1. Chair voting no, Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen? Allen, aye. McGuire? McGuire, aye. Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski? Wachowski, aye. Okay, that bill is out, 10-1. That's out, 10-1.
That bill is out as 10 votes to 1.
File item 14, Senate Bill 737 by Senator Stone. The motion is due pass as amended and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 5-1. Chair voting aye, Vice Chair hasn't voted. Senators Cannella? Allen?
Ellen?
Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. McGuire? McGuire, aye. Mendoza? So 7-1.
7-1, we'll put that bill on call.
And the consent calendar, the current vote is 7-0. Senators Allen? He's left, okay. McGuire? McGuire, aye. Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski? Wachowski, aye. So that's 10-0 on call, the consent calendar.
That's on call for 10-0.
Start again?
So McGuire is here. That's all right.
Okay.
No, we're all like working.
Okay. File item 1, Senate Bill 9 by Senator Bell. The motion due pass as amended and re-refer to the appropriations. The current vote is 7-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen? Galgiani? McGuire? McGuire, aye. Mendoza?
Item 1. Item 1.
That's Galgiani, aye. So that's 9-0.
It's 9-0. We'll leave it on call.
File item 2, Senate Bill 16 by Senator Bell. Motion due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Rules. Current vote is 3-1. Chair voting aye, Vice Chair didn't vote. Senators Cannella, Allen, Bates, Galgiani, McGuire, McGuire, aye. Mendoza, Roth. So that's 4-1. Want to wait for Allen?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll replace that call?
Yeah, put that on call.
File item 3, Senate Bill 64 by Senator Liu. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 8-1. Senators McGuire, aye. Mendoza. So that's 9-1. We'll replace the call. So waiting for Mendoza. Okay.
We'll hold that open for the next.
File item 4, Senate Bill 192 by Senator Liu. The motion is due pass as amended and we refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 7-2. Senators McGuire, aye. Mendoza. That's 8-2. Replace the call. Waiting for Mendoza.
We'll wait for remaining members to vote.
File item 5, Senate Bill 231 by Senator Gaines. The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 10-0. Senator McGuire, aye. This bill is out 11-0.
The bill is out 11-0.
File item 6, Senate Bill 254 by Senator Allen. The motion is due pass and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 9-0. Senators McGuire, aye. Mendoza. So it's 10-0. Replace the call.
Bill is on call for 10-0. He wants to vote.
File item 2, Senate Bill 16 by Senator Bell. Allen, aye. So that's 5 to 1. 5 to 1. Still waiting for Mendoza to replace the call. File item 7, Senate Bill 257 by Senator Bates. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 10-0. Senators McGuire, aye. That bill is out 11-0.
That bill is out 11-0.
File item 9, Senate Bill 413 by Senator Wojciechowski. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 9-0. Senators McGuire, aye. Mendoza. Waiting for Mendoza.
Hold that for.
File item 11, Senate Bill 516 by Senator Fuller. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Current vote is 10-0. Senator McGuire, aye. That bill is out. 11-0.
Bill is out.
File item 14, Senate Bill 737 by Senator Stone. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 7-1. Senators Canella, Allen, Mendoza. Okay, that's still 7-1.
7-1. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. He's on.
Got them all?
Yeah.
Roll on the bills.
File item 1, Senate Bill 9 by Senator Bell. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 9-0. Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Senators Allen, Mendoza, aye. That bill is out 10-0.
That bill is out on a 10-0 vote.
File item 2, Senate Bill 16 by Senator Bell. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Rules. The current vote is 5-1. Chair voting aye. Vice Chair not voting. Senators Canella, Bates, Galgiani, Mendoza, aye. Roth. So that bill is out 6-1.
That bill is out on a 6-1 vote.
File item 3, Senate Bill 64 by Senator Liu. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 9-1. Senators Mendoza, aye. That bill is out 10-1.
The bill is out on a 10-1 vote.
File item 4, Senate Bill 192 by Senator Liu. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 8-2. Senators Mendoza, aye. That bill is out 92.
Bill is out on a 92 vote.
File item 6, Senate Bill 254 by Senator Allen. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 10-0. Senator Mendoza, aye. That bill is out 11-0.
That bill is out 10-0.
11-0.
11-0.
File item 9, Senate Bill 413 by Senator Wojciechowski. The motion is due pass and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 10-0. Senator Mendoza, aye. That bill is out 11-0.
That bill is out on 11-0 vote.
File item 14, Senate Bill 737 by Senator Stone. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The current vote is 7-1. Senators Canella, Allen, Mendoza, aye. That bill is out 8-1.
The bill is out
8-1.
8-1.
And the consent calendar, the current vote is 10-0. Senator Allen. The consent calendar is out, 10-0.
Consent out, 10-0.
Done.
We're done. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.